Ellen Thompson had lived in her quiet country home on the outskirts of Burlington, Vermont, 4 years. At 68, she enjoyed the peaceful rhythm of her days, spending her time tending to her herb garden and enjoying the company of her cat, Luna. Luna, a 5-year-old gray tabby, had been part of Ellen's life for 3 years now. Known for her gentle nature, Luna spent most of her days lounging on the porch or patrolling the garden, watching over the property with her calm, observant eyes. That particular spring morning was crisp, with the scent of blooming lilacs and fresh grass filling the air. Ellen knelt in the garden, carefully tending to her herbs, while Luna lay stretched out on the porch railing, her green eyes half closed in contentment. "Another beautiful day, isn't it, Luna?" Ellen mused. Luna responded with a slow blink, a silent agreement. Ellen's property bordered Willow Creek Farm, where the Hendersons raised chickens and grew organic vegetables. The occasional crow of a rooster or the clucking of hens was part of the familiar country soundscape. But mid-morning, something changed. Luna's ears perked up, her body suddenly alert as she focused on something near the old maple tree at the edge of the garden. "What is it, girl?" Ellen asked, setting down her tools and wiping her hands on her apron. Luna leaped gracefully from the railing, moving cautiously toward the tree, her tail twitching with interest. Ellen followed, straining to hear what had caught her cat's attention. Then she heard it, a faint, distressed peeping coming from the base of the tree. Under the sprawling roots, a tiny yellow chick trembled in a small hollow, its fuzzy down still damp from hatching. The little bird was alone, no mother hen in sight. It had likely gotten separated from the Hendersons' chicken coop. "Oh, you poor thing," Ellen murmured, crouching down to gently scoop up the fragile creature. Before she could reach it, Luna surprised her. Instead of reacting like a predator, Luna approached with slow, deliberate steps and lay down beside the chick. Her soft fur created a warm barrier against the cool morning air. The chick hesitated for a moment before instinctively huddling closer to the cat's warmth. Ellen held her breath, half expecting Luna to swat at the tiny creature. But instead, the cat began to gently groom the chick, using the same careful licks she reserved for kittens. The chick let out a soft, contented chirp and nestled into Luna's belly. "Well, I'll be," Ellen whispered, watching in amazement. Years of experience told Ellen she should return the chick to the Hendersons, but something about the scene before her made her hesitate. Luna, a cat who had never had kittens of her own, seemed to be adopting the chick as if it were her own. There was something undeniably maternal in the way she curled protectively around the little bird. "This is certainly unexpected," Ellen mused, rubbing her chin. Making a quick decision, she went inside to gather supplies, a small box, soft cloths, and a heating pad. She had raised chickens years ago and knew the basics of caring for a chick. When she returned, she found Luna still in the same spot, the chick now sleeping soundly against her. "All right, Luna," Ellen said softly. "Let's get your little friend somewhere safer." To her surprise, Luna seemed to understand. She stood carefully, nudging the chick with her nose as if encouraging it to follow. Ellen watched in awe as the tiny yellow fluff ball wobbled after the gray tabby, following her into the house. Inside, Ellen set up the small box in the kitchen, lining it with warm cloths and placing the heating pad underneath to mimic the warmth of a mother hen. But Luna had other ideas. She immediately jumped into the box, settling down as if she had been caring for chicks her whole life. The little bird, which Ellen had started calling Sunny because of its bright yellow down, snuggled right back into Luna's fur. Ellen picked up her phone and called the Hendersons. "Martha, have any of your hens lost a chick?" she asked. Martha Henderson was puzzled. "No, all of ours are accounted for." "Are you sure it's one of ours?" Ellen frowned. "I found it alone near the maple tree. It must have wandered off from somewhere." Martha came by to check, confirming that the chick wasn't from their brood. "Must be from a wild ground bird," she suggested. "But I've never seen anything like this." Both women stood in the kitchen, watching Luna care for Sunny. The cat was gently nudging the chick toward a small dish of feed Ellen had prepared. When the chick hesitated, Luna tapped the dish with her paw, demonstrating what to do. Moments later, Sunny mimicked the motion and began pecking at the food. "I've been raising animals my whole life," Martha said, shaking her head in amazement. "And I've never seen a cat act like this." That night, Ellen worried about how Luna would handle the chick's needs, but her concern quickly faded. Luna refused to leave the box after sunset, staying curled around Sunny to keep him warm. When the chick peeped in distress, Luna responded with a soft, trilling meow, a sound Ellen had never heard from her before. It was almost as if Luna had created a special call just for Sunny. Ellen sat at the table, sipping tea and watching the unlikely pair. "You're a natural mother," she told Luna, who blinked slowly in response, her paw resting protectively over the sleeping chick. Over the next few days, Ellen witnessed Luna's surprising maternal instincts continue to unfold. The cat barely left the box, only stepping out for food and water before returning quickly to check on Sunny. If the chick wandered too far, Luna would gently scoop him up in her mouth, just as she would with a kitten, and carry him back to safety. Word of the unusual pair spread quickly. Ellen's neighbor, Tom Wilson, stopped by with his camera. "The grandkids won't believe this without pictures," he said, snapping shots of Luna grooming Sunny. By the end of the first week, Sunny had grown noticeably. His yellow fluff was beginning to show hints of real feathers, and his tiny legs had grown stronger. Luna adjusted her care accordingly, now leading Sunny on short walks around the kitchen, always keeping a close eye on him. One afternoon, Ellen watched as Luna faced her first real parenting challenge. Sunny, now curious and adventurous, had discovered his wings. He attempted to hop off the low coffee table, flapping wildly. Before Ellen could react, Luna leaped into action, cushioning Sunny's landing with her body. "Good save," Ellen praised, her heart still racing from the near accident. Luna responded by picking Sunny up and returning him to their box, giving him a thorough grooming as if to say, "Don't scare me like that again." As Ellen watched the two of them settle in for the night, she marveled at the unexpected bond that had formed. Luna, the once solitary cat, had become a devoted mother. And Sunny, the tiny lost chick, had found a family where he least expected it. Ellen smiled, stroking Luna's back. "I guess life still has some surprises left for us." As the days passed, Luna and Sunny's bond only deepened. What had begun as an unusual moment of compassion had turned into a full-fledged relationship, with Luna treating Sunny as though he were her own kitten. Ellen was astonished by the dedication Luna showed, and she found herself marveling at the sight of the gray tabby and the fluffy yellow chick curled up together every night. One morning, Ellen woke up earlier than usual and shuffled into the kitchen, expecting to see Luna lounging in her usual spot on the windowsill. Instead, she found her pacing near the box, emitting soft, trilling meows. Ellen peered inside and noticed that Sunny was missing. "Oh dear," she muttered, searching the room. Then she spotted him. The chick had somehow managed to hop out of the box and was now exploring the kitchen, his tiny feet tapping against the wooden floor. Ellen let out a chuckle, but Luna was less amused. She trotted over to Sunny and used her nose to gently nudge him back toward the box. The chick chirped in protest but ultimately obeyed, hopping back inside where Luna promptly curled around him as if grounding him for wandering off. Ellen shook her head, amazed. "You've got your paws full, don't you, Luna?" Luna blinked up at her, as if fully aware of the responsibility she had taken on. As Sunny grew stronger, he became more adventurous. He would often hop out of the box to follow Luna wherever she went. At first, Luna would pick him up gently and return him to his nest, but after a few days, she relented and allowed him to follow her around the house. The sight of the tiny chick tottering after the sleek cat was enough to make Ellen wish she had a video camera at all times. One afternoon, Ellen decided it was time to let the pair experience the outdoors together. She carried the box out to the porch and set it down near the sunniest spot, watching as Luna stretched lazily before hopping out. Sunny, eager to follow, flapped his small wings and hopped out after her. The fresh spring air was filled with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. Sunny seemed overwhelmed at first, blinking in the bright sunlight, but Luna stayed close, sitting beside him as though providing reassurance. Ellen took a seat on her rocking chair, watching the duo with great interest. Luna led Sunny around the porch, showing him the safest spots to sit and the best places to soak up the sun. When a gust of wind rustled the trees, the chick let out a nervous chirp and instinctively darted under Luna's belly. The cat remained perfectly still, allowing Sunny to take comfort in her presence. Ellen smiled to herself. "You're quite the protector, Luna." As the days grew warmer, Ellen began allowing the pair to spend more time outside. Luna seemed to take her role as guardian very seriously. Whenever Sunny strayed too far from the porch, she would hurry after him, letting out that special trill she had developed just for him. Sunny, despite his growing confidence, would immediately turn back to her side. One morning, Ellen was in the garden when she heard Luna's warning growl. Turning her head quickly, she spotted the neighbor's large tabby, Rufus, creeping toward the porch, his eyes locked onto Sunny. Before Ellen could intervene, Luna had already taken action. With her back arched and fur bristling, she placed herself between Rufus and the chick. The other cat hesitated, surprised by Luna's sudden hostility. She let out a low, menacing hiss, her tail lashing behind her. Sunny, oblivious to the danger, simply huddled close to Luna's side. Rufus, apparently deciding that this was a battle he didn't want to fight, slunk away, casting one last glance at the small chick before disappearing behind the fence. Ellen let out a relieved breath. "You really are a mother, aren't you?" Luna, satisfied that the threat had passed, relaxed and turned her attention to Sunny, giving him a few gentle licks as if reassuring him that everything was all right. As the weeks passed, Sunny continued to grow at an astonishing rate. His once fluffy yellow down began to be replaced by soft white and golden feathers. He was no longer the fragile chick that Luna had first taken in, but rather a young bird full of curiosity and energy. One day, while they were out in the garden, Sunny discovered his ability to jump higher than before. He flapped his developing wings and managed to get himself onto the low wooden bench near the porch. Excited by this new skill, he chirped loudly and attempted to go even higher. Luna, who had been lounging nearby, immediately sprang to attention. Ellen, watching from her rocking chair, saw what was coming even before it happened. Sunny took a bold leap, attempting to fly toward the porch railing. But his wings weren't strong enough yet, and he plummeted downward. Luna reacted in a flash, racing beneath him and cushioning his fall with her own body. Ellen gasped, rushing over. But when she reached them, she found that Luna had already picked Sunny up in her mouth and was carrying him back toward the porch as if scolding him for his recklessness. She set him down gently in the sunniest spot and gave him a long, thorough grooming, which he accepted with a series of apologetic peeps. Ellen let out a breathless laugh. "Luna, I think you just had your first heart attack as a mother." The cat shot her a look, then resumed licking Sunny's feathers. As the sun began to set that evening, Ellen watched the unlikely duo settle down in their usual spot on the porch. Luna curled up comfortably, and Sunny nestled against her, tucking his head beneath her fur. Ellen sighed contentedly. "You two are something special." That night, as the house fell into silence, Ellen reflected on how much things had changed since Luna had found the lost chick under the maple tree. What had begun as a single act of kindness had transformed into something deeper. Luna had not just adopted Sunny, she had truly become his mother. Ellen chuckled to herself as she turned off the lights. If anyone had told her months ago that her cat would be raising a chick, she wouldn't have believed it. But now, it seemed as natural as anything else. As she climbed into bed, she could hear Luna's soft purring from the kitchen and Sunny's faint, contented chirps. The sound brought a smile to her face. Love, Ellen thought as she drifted off to sleep, really does come in the most unexpected forms. As the weeks passed, Sunny continued to grow, and his once soft yellow down was being replaced by stronger white and golden feathers. He was no longer the tiny, helpless chick Luna had rescued. His legs had grown sturdier, and his wings were stronger, though not yet fully developed for proper flight. Despite these changes, one thing remained constant: his bond with Luna. Ellen watched in amazement as Sunny continued to mimic Luna's behaviors. He followed her wherever she went, from the kitchen to the garden, mirroring her every move. He tried to groom himself like a cat, awkwardly using his wings to pat at his feathers the way Luna used her paw to clean her face. It was both endearing and comical. One afternoon, Ellen decided to let them explore the backyard freely. The garden was enclosed, offering a safe space, but she remained watchful. Luna, ever the protective mother, led Sunny along their usual path, occasionally stopping to sniff at plants or stretch out in the sunlight. Sunny stayed close, occasionally scratching at the dirt the way he had seen Luna do. As Ellen sipped her tea from the porch, a sudden rustling in the nearby bushes caught her attention. Luna's ears perked up instantly, her body tensing. Ellen followed her gaze and saw a fox lurking just beyond the fence, its sharp eyes fixed on Sunny. Ellen's heart pounded. She knew the fox wouldn't hesitate to snatch a small bird if given the chance. Before she could react, Luna sprang into action. With a deep, warning growl, Luna positioned herself between Sunny and the fox, her fur standing on end. She arched her back, her tail puffing up to make herself appear larger. She let out a long, fierce hiss, baring her teeth. Sunny, oblivious to the true danger, let out a few curious chirps and huddled close to her side. The fox hesitated, eyeing the defensive cat. It took a cautious step forward, but Luna didn't back down. She advanced instead, hissing even louder, her green eyes flashing with protective fury. Ellen held her breath. "Come on, Luna, scare him off," she murmured. Then, something unexpected happened. Sunny, seeming to sense the tension, let out a surprisingly loud squawk and flapped his developing wings aggressively. It wasn't much, but it was enough to startle the fox. The sudden noise, combined with Luna's fierce stance, seemed to be too much. The fox reconsidered and, after a few seconds, turned and slunk away into the brush. Ellen let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. She quickly hurried over to Luna and Sunny, crouching down beside them. "Good girl, Luna," she praised, stroking the cat's fur gently. "And you, Sunny, that was quite the brave move." Luna gave Sunny a thorough grooming, checking him over as if making sure he hadn't been harmed. Sunny, for his part, nestled closer to her, letting out soft chirps of contentment. That night, as Ellen prepared for bed, she reflected on what had happened. Luna's bond with Sunny had gone beyond just nurturing him. She had protected him like he was her own kitten, standing against a natural predator without hesitation. And Sunny, though still young and inexperienced, had responded in his own way. The next morning, Ellen found Luna and Sunny sitting side by side on the porch, enjoying the early sunshine. It was clear that Luna was still keeping an extra watchful eye on her adopted child. As the days went on, Sunny's instincts as a chicken became stronger. He had started pecking at the dirt more frequently, scratching for bugs and seeds without needing Luna's guidance. But he still turned to her for reassurance. If something startled him, he would dart back to her side, hiding beneath her as he had done when he was a chick. One afternoon, Ellen invited her neighbor, Martha Henderson, over to see their unusual bond firsthand. Martha, who had raised chickens for years, was fascinated. "This is incredible," Martha said, watching as Luna demonstrated to Sunny how to paw at a pile of leaves, only for the young rooster to mimic her action with his feet. "He's learning from her just like a chick would from its mother. But she's not even a bird." Ellen chuckled. "Luna's taken her role seriously." Martha observed them closely. "You know, it's about time he starts socializing with other chickens. Have you thought about introducing him to a flock?" Ellen hesitated. The thought had crossed her mind, but she couldn't imagine separating Sunny from Luna. "I suppose I should, but I don't know how he'd handle it," she admitted. "He's never been around other chickens." Martha nodded in understanding. "Well, if you ever want to try, I have a few young hens he could meet. It might help him learn proper chicken behavior." That night, Ellen watched as Luna and Sunny curled up together in their usual spot. The idea of separating them, even for a short time, tugged at her heart. But she also knew that eventually, Sunny would need to integrate with his own kind. The following morning, Ellen decided to test a gradual introduction. She took Sunny to Martha's farm, where a small group of hens pecked around their enclosure. Sunny hesitated at first, sticking close to Ellen's feet. One of the hens approached him curiously, clucking softly. Sunny let out a nervous chirp and took a step back. The hen seemed non-threatening, but he still glanced around as if looking for Luna's approval. Back at home, Luna paced by the window, ears twitching as she sensed Sunny's absence. Ellen knew she had to bring him back soon. After a few minutes of observing the hens, Sunny flapped his wings and let out a hesitant peep, as if testing the waters. But it wasn't long before he decided he'd had enough. With a sudden burst of energy, he turned and ran straight back toward Ellen, his little legs moving as fast as they could. Ellen scooped him up, laughing. All right, I get it. You're not ready yet." Back home, the reunion between Luna and Sunny was heartwarming. The moment Ellen set him down, Sunny ran straight to Luna, snuggling up against her side. Luna gave him an approving lick, as if reassuring him that he was home. Ellen sighed. "Looks like we'll take this slow." As the sun set, Luna and Sunny took their usual place on the porch. Sunny had tried socializing with other chickens, but for now, his bond with Luna was stronger than anything else. Ellen knew the time would come when Sunny would fully embrace his identity as a rooster, but for now, he was still Luna's baby. As she rocked in her chair, listening to the soft sounds of Luna's purring and Sunny's gentle peeps, Ellen smiled. Some bonds, she realized, simply couldn't be broken, no matter how different the creatures involved. As summer turned into autumn, Sunny had grown into a magnificent young rooster. His golden and white feathers gleamed in the sunlight, and his once tiny chirps had developed into a confident, if slightly awkward, crow. Luna, ever the patient mother, continued to watch over him, though Ellen could tell she was gradually allowing him more independence. One crisp morning, Ellen sat on her porch sipping her coffee, watching the garden as the sun cast long golden rays across the yard. Luna stretched out on a sun-warmed patch of the porch, her green eyes half closed. Sunny stood beside her, pecking at the wooden boards as if searching for something interesting. Ellen chuckled. "You're a grown rooster now, Sunny. Maybe it's time you start acting like one." Sunny let out a confused squawk, tilting his head toward her. Luna gave him a reassuring lick on the head, making Ellen shake her head with amusement. He was still her baby, after all. Despite his strong attachment to Luna, Ellen knew that Sunny would eventually need to interact with other chickens. He had to learn how to be part of a flock. So, after much thought, she decided to attempt another visit to Martha Henderson's farm. "All right, Luna," Ellen said as she gathered Sunny into her arms, "we're just going for a visit. Don't worry, he'll be back soon." Luna watched them leave, her tail twitching slightly. Ellen could tell the cat didn't approve, but she also knew it was necessary. At Martha's farm, Sunny was introduced to a small group of young hens. Unlike his last visit, this time he didn't immediately try to hide. Instead, he stood his ground, observing the hens as they clucked and scratched at the dirt. "That's a good sign," Martha said, watching from the fence. "He's still wary, but he's not running away." One of the hens, a pretty brown one named Daisy, approached Sunny and let out a soft cluck. Sunny fluffed his feathers nervously but didn't retreat. Instead, he let out a small, hesitant crow. Daisy clucked again and pecked at the ground near him, as if encouraging him to do the same. Ellen and Martha exchanged a look. "I think he's starting to get it," Ellen said. For the next hour, Sunny stayed with the hens, learning their ways. He was still uncertain, but he no longer panicked. Ellen smiled, knowing this was a big step for him. When it was time to leave, Ellen called to him, and Sunny immediately perked up, running toward her. She gathered him up in her arms, giving Martha a grateful nod before heading home. Back at the house, Luna was waiting on the porch, ears perked up as she spotted Ellen and Sunny approaching. The moment Ellen set Sunny down, he rushed to Luna's side, nuzzling against her as if telling her all about his adventure. Luna gave him a thorough grooming in response, as though making sure he was unharmed. Ellen chuckled. "You're still his number one, Luna." Though Sunny had taken his first real steps toward being part of a flock, his bond with Luna remained unshaken. Every evening, he still nestled close to her, and every morning, he followed her around the garden, mimicking her every move. One evening, as Ellen sat watching them from her rocking chair, she heard a distant rumble of thunder. The sky darkened with storm clouds, and a strong wind swept through the yard, rustling the trees. Sunny let out a nervous squawk, hopping closer to Luna. Luna responded instantly, pressing against him protectively and making her soft, trilling noise to calm him. Despite the fact that Sunny was now nearly twice Luna's size, he still sought comfort in her presence. As the storm rolled in, they huddled together in their sheltered corner of the porch. Ellen smiled to herself, touched by the sight. Their relationship had evolved, but their love for each other had not changed. Sunny might be growing up, but in Luna's eyes, he would always be her little chick. As autumn deepened, Ellen noticed more changes in Sunny's behavior. He was becoming more independent, venturing further into the yard and showing increasing interest in the chickens at the Henderson farm. One morning, Ellen woke up to find him standing at the fence, watching the distant flock with an air of curiosity. "You're thinking about it, aren't you?" Ellen mused, standing beside him. "Thinking about joining your own kind." Sunny let out a small, uncertain crow. He still returned to Luna at the end of each day, but Ellen could tell the shift was happening. Then, one day it happened. Ellen was out tending to the garden when she noticed Sunny standing near the open gate that led toward Martha's farm. He looked back at Luna, who sat on the porch watching him with her usual calm gaze. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then, Sunny flapped his wings and let out a confident crow. With one last look at Luna, he turned and began strutting toward the farm. Ellen held her breath, watching Luna's reaction. The cat didn't chase after him. Instead, she simply watched, her tail flicking slowly. There was no distress, no urgency. Just quiet understanding. Tears pricked Ellen's eyes. "She knows," she whispered. "She knows he's ready." Sonny didn't go far that day. He visited the hens for a while and then returned, as if checking in. But as the weeks passed, his visits to the farm grew longer. He started spending afternoons with the flock, learning from them, growing into his role as a rooster. Finally, one crisp autumn evening, Ellen sat on the porch as Luna lay curled beside her, gazing at the now mostly empty yard. Sonny had stayed at the farm overnight for the first time. Ellen reached down to stroke Luna's fur. "You did good, Luna. You raised him well." Luna blinked slowly, then turned her gaze toward the horizon where the farm stood, as if silently keeping watch. Though their days of constant companionship had changed, their bond remained. And every morning, just as the sun rose over the hills, a familiar crow echoed through the crisp air, Sonny's way of telling Luna he was still near. Ellen smiled, wrapping her shawl around her shoulders. Love, she realized, didn't always mean keeping someone close. Sometimes, it meant letting them go and knowing they would always find their way back home.